Welcome, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another video. I hope you guys are feeling good. I am glad to be back with another video, and in today's video I'll be diving in what's going on in Chelsea. Of course, the summer transfer window is coming, and with the January transfer window gone, of course we were able to make a few loans, but we just don't seem to hit the target. We have made more losses other than revenue, and this as Chelsea, in terms of the PSR, we will be facing a bit of a challenge, because not only are we going to be having a tough time because we are having a 3-year we're going to be having a 3-year screening. Now the first 2 years have not been too good, and I'll be diving into how much we have lost in terms of the 2 years that Todd Boehly took over, and the profitability and sustainability rules. We might be having a problem as Chelsea. Now, of course, we know that we've spent so much and we have had to cut some losses, and this is what we'll be diving into. Anyway, other than that, the England team has been called up. We have some Chelsea players that have been called up, and I'm excited to see your reactions. Just 3 players have been called up this time. So it's very interesting, but yeah, it's it's Southgate. So I know England, they have so many players to dispose, so at times when some Chelsea players are not picked, I'm actually a bit happy. So the 3 players, congratulations to them. Of course, we have a new entry, actually a second entry this year, so I'm very happy for the player. I guess you guys already know who it is, so I'll be diving into it. So if you're new to the channel, please like the video, share it with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I am so happy for you guys to be here. So let's dive into what's going on in Chelsea. Now, according to Mail Online Sports, now last week the club announced that a pre-tax loss of £90.1 million in the first full year under Todd Boehly and the Clear Lake Capital ownership. This is a loss for the 12-month period to June 30th, 2023. Now, in the previous year, Chelsea made a loss of £121.4 million, and they blamed it on sanctions and, of course, Roman Abramovich. Now, this year, I don't know who we are going to blame, and we will have to make sales in order to be able to comply with the profitability and sustainability rules, PSR, from here on henceforth. So in terms of the rules, now what does the rule say? The rules limit the clubs to losses of £105 million over a 3-year period. Now the first 2 years we have already exceeded that. Of course, the first year they blamed it on the sanctions. This year, what do we have to blame? Now this is where we'll have to cut losses. Now, some interesting players have been mentioned in this article that will likely be leaving, and this actually it's very interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see if they actually follow through with it. Of course, in the January transfer window, we saw some loans going and some players that we really had to let go because we have so much talent that is just rotting on the bench, and players want to be played. Nobody wants to be on the bench, hence why the likes of Maxson left to BVB, and the likes of Broja, I guess they were trying to dispose of him through a loan or through a sell in the January transfer window. It was not to be, and he went to loan to Fulham. So it's going to be interesting. Who are the other players that will likely leave this summer? Now, on top of the list, apparently, is Conor Gallagher. Now, Conor Gallagher is an academy player and is a product of the Chelsea club, and of course, selling him would bring a profit, but will this be a mistake? Of course, Gallagher has his days, and he has been taking the role of captaincy when Reece James has not been there, and he has been stepping up as a product of the academy. It's good to see that we still have some players that can show up, but in terms of goal averages, in terms of assists, is he what we need? Are we going to have to let him go? Now, he is one of the players that have been called up to the England squad. And Gallagher, his situation is complex. Now, Poch would like to keep him, but at the end of the day, it's not up to him. So Gallagher might be one of the players who might be letting go this summer. Now, do you think this would be a very good idea, or we shouldn't? Because Gallagher has his good days and his bad days, and he has mentioned, as I said in my previous video, that this club will take a while to grow, and he's a young player. So are we disposing of young players while we're looking for younger players? But I hope we know what we're doing, and I hope it's a good decision if we actually follow through with it. Now, the next player we have Sterling. Of course, Sterling is 21 Sterling is 29 years old. Now, of course, he snubbed a club from Saudi Arabia last season for him to come to Chelsea, but it looks like we might be letting go of the player if an offer is going to come. Now, he's getting older, and of course, is he as efficient as he was when he was younger? I don't think so, and I think it's safe to say that his better years are getting back of him, are getting behind him. Are getting behind him. So if we were to sell Sterling, perhaps 50 million pounds is what we'll be perhaps 50 million pounds is what we'll be getting. Now, Chelsea will hope to command a large fee as the player is still in contract with the club. So, do you think we should dispose of Sterling? And what qualities does he bring to Chelsea that we actually need him for? Because other than penalties, he can be a very good penalty taker when we need to count on him. So, in terms of Sterling, he might be one of the players we'll be releasing this summer. Now, other players include Lukaku. Of course, the 30-year-old went to loan. We bought him at over 100 million pounds. It was a record signing, and will have to succumb to a loss, probably with his release clause of 37 million pounds. That is what we'll have to let Lukaku go, because yeah, it's safe to say he's not coming back, and we don't want him. So yeah, bye. In terms of Kepa, of course, Kepa went to loan to Madrid. Of course, he was one of the highest paid goalkeepers in the world, in England. And to Madrid, and of course, going to Madrid, he mentioned that he wanted to stay there permanently. Unfortunately, he has been sidelined and he's on the bench. He doesn't get to play as much as he thought he would. Now, will Madrid want to keep him? I honestly don't think so, because he's getting a bit on the older scale, and perhaps we'll have to get another loss here. So we'll be succumbing to a lot of losses this summer, possibly, if this deal goes through. So Kepa, perhaps a loss of if we're able to sell him, perhaps 35 million pounds is what we might be able to command from the player. Now, in terms of the other players, we have Ian Maatsen, and in January decided to go on loan to BVB Dortmund, and he decided that, you know, he was not getting a lot of game time and he was on the bench, so why not? So he went to the loan. As he went on loan to BVB, the contract included a release clause of 35 million pounds. So Maatsen is a young player. I would honestly be sad that we lose the player, but then again, we have to comply with the PSR. We have to comply with the PSR, and perhaps we might have to sell Maatsen, because there is a release clause that might be activated by BVB if he decides to stay. Now, one of the other players that have been confirmed is Lewis Hall. Now, Lewis Hall was a very good player under Tuchel when he got a chance to play, and he's an academy player. So selling him, of course, I think the deal has already been agreed with Newcastle. He went on loan to Newcastle, but Newcastle want to activate his release clause, and I think they have already agreed. I think Fabrizio already broke this. The agreement deal was 28 million pounds. And unfortunately, yeah, I think I'm gonna miss Lewis Hall, but yeah, we have to dispose of some players. So it's bye-bye to Lewis Hall. Another player that really fumbled this season, not due to his fault, rather due to injuries, was Broja. And this was one of the players that I really had hope for. I thought he would do well as a striker, as an actual number 9. I thought he would actually step up, but it wasn't meant to be, and he had to go on loan in January. He went to Fulham. Of course, Chelsea tried to sell him in the January transfer window with a 50 million price tag. Anybody got time for that? Nobody bought it, and he had to go to loan. He had to go on loan at Fulham. Of course, he has not had the best season, with only 5 Premier League games played. I mean, Broja, it seems to say that we might be releasing him, perhaps at a loss of 13 million pounds. On top of it all, now I know Chalobah, yeah. Now I know Chalobah. I noticed something throughout the season. Now, Chelsea, when some players were not playing, it would say on the application that they're going through rehabilitation, and I think this was the PR method of saying that we're not playing these players, they're going to be on the bench. For the longest time, Cucurella was on the bench. Chalobah was on the bench. Only when Ben Chilwell was injured, then Cucurella stepped up. But then he got injured. Then he had to go to the rehabilitation. And I'm sorry, I'm just this rehab. I'm just not buying it. And I saw this on Twitter, and I thought I was the only one. So guys, do you think these players are actually in rehab? Because you'd think they'd want to play, but at the end of the day, you can only play 11 players, and you can only rotate so many players. It's safe to say Poch has picked his top 11, and he's a bit agile in terms of changing the players, in terms of rotating the players, something that Tuchel was very good at. He would rest players, and Chalobah is one of the players that unfortunately suffered this, and he might leave this summer. Now I will miss Chalobah because Chalobah was one of the players that when I first started commentating here on YouTube, I felt like he had so much potential, but yeah, I guess it's safe to say Chalobah might be leaving. And another player I mentioned, Cucurella. Now he was also sidelined, being in rehab, and that was the statement that the club was giving. But we bought him from Brighton. He wasn't the player that I thought would come to Chelsea and do what he did in Brighton, because player of the season, he was just in Brighton, but in Chelsea, it was almost a different person. So it's safe to say that Cucurella might be leaving, because there were already rumors that he was looking to leave, but it was just he just didn't, the deal did not go through. So this summer he might be looking to leave, and we might be getting a price tag of a loss again of 13 million. Now all the players in Chelsea, their values is seeming to decrease. I guess it's because of where we are at the Premier League table, the fact that we're not participating in major titles, for example the Champions League, Europa Conference League, none of the leagues. How far we have fallen. Anyway guys, the last on the list, this was reported by the Standard newspaper. Now, Thiago Silva is set to be replaced by Lille defender Leny Yoro. Now, this is one of the players that might also be leaving. Of course, Thiago Silva is turning 40, and after the back and forth that Bell Silva, after the outburst that Bell Silva had on Twitter, Thiago Silva has been benched, and yeah, I think it's safe to say I don't think he'll be playing anytime soon. But then again, he's old. It gives him a tough time when he's trying to keep up with the young players. So I understand why he will let him go. Yes, he has given us some good moments. He has given us some classic moments, but he has had mistakes that I feel like, due to his age and just, the factors that are uncontrollable to him, because when you're old you'll try and keep up with the youngins, but you can only do so much. I sound like a grandma. Hey. Anyway guys, I will conclude this in terms of this whole transfer news and the people we might be letting go of. Now, the Clear Lake Capital ownership has made it clear that they will be looking for 2 or 3 players under the age of 23 for every position in the team. So we might be making some big signings then again in the summer. So we'll have to comply with the PSR. We're not going to be suspending in terms of buying players and selling players, but I hope we have a plan and we're working towards it. We have made losses. The value of the players that came in, they have reduced by at least 10 million or 5 million. Mudryk, Colwill, you name it, Lavia, Nkunku. Every time I think about Nkunku, I mentioned before we signed him, my problem with Nkunku is that he's too injury prone, and it's almost as if Chelsea thought that he was going to be like one kind savior, like one Ronaldo, Messi. You put him in and he was just giving us goal after goal after goal. No, that's not it. He's too injury prone, and the injury list in our team is what is killing us. But we have to do something about it. And on top of it all, our captain is leading by example in terms of the injuries. So I know it's not within his power. I know it's not something I can control. But when Azpilicueta was our captain, you'd I guess I feel like Reece James got the responsibility of the captainship, or he got the captain. He became a captain too fast, I would say. But hey, Gallagher sometimes is a captain, so it is what it is. If Reece James will be staying in Chelsea, what will we have? Will he have to go with a surgery? I think he mentioned something about a surgery so that he can finally be able to come back. In terms of the players that have been called up by England include Ben Chilwell, Conor Gallagher, and of course the young player of the year, yes, Cole Palmer. I mean, Cole Palmer, he's too cool, he's too icy. I mean, he's one of the highest scoring young players in Europe right now, just under Jude Bellingham. So yeah, Cole Palmer has been doing a lot for Chelsea. Anyway guys, in terms of what's going on in terms of the Champions League, it was very interesting. Now Porto were knocked out by Arsenal. Very annoying, but let's see, never say never. Of course, Arsenal, this is their first time to get to the quarterfinals in 14 years. You guys are still not gonna win it. I mean, I'm gonna just watch it just to make sure that Arsenal loses. In the Champions League, of course, we are not participating this time round, and possibly not even in the next competition, but I'm excited to see. Of course, we have teams that have qualified that haven't been there in a while, and it's going to be interesting to see how the game pans out. We have the likes of Arsenal that haven't been there in a very long time, so it was very good to see it. The Arsenal fans were very hyped to finally get to the quarterfinal, something that's so easy for us, but hey, you know, some people, their prayers are getting answers. So in terms of the teams that have qualified for the quarterfinal include Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, PSG, Man City, Bayern, Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and then finally Dortmund. Yes, finally we have Dortmund. So anyway guys, I'm very excited to see who actually goes and gets to the final, the road to Wembley. In terms of Champions League, I cannot wait to see. And in terms of Chelsea, we'll be letting go of so many players this season. I cannot wait to see what happens in the summer transfer window. We have to comply with the PSR, and yes, we have to comply with the PSR. We don't have any choice. We have already overshot our targets by up to £15 million. So we are being watched very closely with the amount that we're spending. We have eyes on us, yeah, we know. But with all that we spent, we have accepted that 10th and 11th position is where we're staying this season. So anyway, I am excited for Sunday. We'll be facing Leicester City. Be sure to watch out for my preview. I will be giving you guys my expected starting 11, who I think Poch might go with. I mentioned in my previous video, asked you guys, do you think we'll actually get to the FA Cup final? And the last comment in my last video. So if you want me to give you a shout out in this video, be sure to comment in my video and I'll give you a shout out. So in my last video, there was a comment, and the comment mentioned that we have so much raw talent. We have so much talent, but we are just inconsistent. So if we can just be consistent, then we will just be so way better off. Anyway guys, if you're new to the channel, I am doing this ish for free. Make sure you like the video. Share it with your family and friends. Congratulations to the 3 players that have been called up to the England squad. I hope they don't get injuries. That's always a fear. Anyway, I wish them all the best, and I hope we will be making better moves this summer, and we'll be making steps. Of course, the USA tour ticket sale is ongoing, and I cannot wait to see how we perform in the summer series. Our last summer series was a bit okay, and I thought it had a bit of hope in terms of the season, but yeah, we just we did not do it right. So anyway guys, that was my video. If you enjoyed it, like it, share it to family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video. Up the Blues, let's go in terms of the Champions League, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. So if you're new once again, subscribe.